the hit music mix. Crossway.
Let's go! The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio.
It's 2019, baby.
All the hits. One station.
Bringing you the best mix of the best music. Nothing but the baddest and best music. Broadcasting worldwide. One hit at a time.
Music.
Online.
One station. Hit music. All the hits.
24/7 around the world. Non-stop. This is Crossway.
To Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown, a musical talk show with in-studio guest performers and interesting program features, anchored by the man with many titles: musician, producer, actor, director, YouTuber, filmmaker. Well, the list is long because he's the man and more. So friends, Canadians, ladies and gentlemen, your Sunday midday fun starts here. Welcome to the Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's episode of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown. I am your host, as always, Mr. Scott Dion Brown, and Regine was unable to be here today, but she will be back next week, so I'm going to go this one alone, and though I am without my co-host, I will do my best to have banter with myself. But it's not just going to be with myself, because we do have a guest in studio, which we will meet in just a little while. So what did we get up to this week? I produced and directed a new video for Barry Cito, who was on this show a little while ago, and I would invite you to go over to his YouTube channel. Just search Barry Cito, BarrySzeto on YouTube. It's a acoustic cover version of Boot Up by LMA, and I shot it and edited and put it together for him. And I'm also playing the acoustic guitar on that video, so go check it out on his channel. It's there right now. And I think we might have already linked to it on the Facebook page, but I'll link it again. But just search it up on YouTube and you'll find it. And then last night, I co-emceed the Little Miss Philippines pageant PIDC and the Miss Philippines pageant PIDC. They were one after the other yesterday at the Rembrandt Banquet Hall. One was at 2 o'clock and the other was at 7. So it was a very long day of hosting, but it was also very glamorous. And though my back was sore and my feet were sore, I can't complain because I wasn't doing it in heels, even though all of them were. But anyways, here we are today. It's a Sunday morning. It's a lovely day, actually, here in the city of Vaughan, just north of Toronto. And it's our episode of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown. So here I am. And I'm going to kick things off, of course, as we always do. First by thanking our executive producers. So let's do that. Today's episode of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown is brought to you by our two executive producers. Do you want to find out what your home is really worth? Are you buying or selling a home? Then Jennifer C., Realtor at Home Life Culture Link, is here to help. Call or text Jennifer today at 647-403-8887. Don't deal with just anyone. Speak to a professional. Jennifer C. at Home Life Culture Link. To see your current listings, visit homelifeculturelink.com. The Mortgage Godfather is here to give you advice with any mortgage needs you may have, and he will shop to find you the best mortgage. Nino Simeka, mortgage agent. He'll give you an offer you can't refuse. Find out more at mortgagegodfather.ca or call 905-604-6955. Thank you very much to our executive producers. And if you would like to advertise on the show, I encourage you to get in touch at radioshowad@gmail.com, and we'll set you up with a fantastic advertising plan. We do the ads live here on the show, which means we can personalize the ads week to week. If you've got a special or a special event coming up for whatever your business is, you can let us know, and we can make every ad different every week if you wanted to make sure that the interaction with your potential customers and new audience is personal and unique. So get in touch, radioshowad@gmail.com, and we'll get things rolling. And now back to the show. So let's meet our guest. I have an artist sitting across from me. He is a singer-songwriter. We're based from where are you from?
Originally from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
That was a tongue twister, eh?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. But we are here with Chad Beloin.
Yes. Hello. Thank you for having me.
Hi. Thanks for coming in. So Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Yes.
Are you a Riders fan?
Yes.
Yeah. They've got I mean, I'm an Argos fan, and it's harder to be a CFL fan in Toronto because they're competing so hard with Leafs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I've always been very jealous of the Rider Nation because
it's the only team we got. We got to support them. You know, I mean, it's really the whole province comes together, and you know, the whole province just turns green every time they play. We actually had our first game. I believe it was last night, and yeah, of course, like always, the whole province showed up to show their love. So.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing that I love about Rider fans as well is I see them even at games when the Riders aren't playing. Like I've been to my uncle's a Rider fan, and he comes. Sometimes he'll come with us to games because we got season tickets to the Argos, and he'll always show up. Even if the Riders aren't playing, he'll always wear the green. And when he's there, he's never the only one just wearing green. So he'll look over and there'll be like 2 or 3 Rider fans, and they always find each other like, hey, I don't know. It's I love
that love, I guess.
Yeah, it's actually amazing. The Argos fans are very passionate, but I guess there just aren't as many of them. I think what it is, and I love seeing. I really do want to get out there and see a Rider game one day because it's
got it, man. Especially at the new stadium.
Yeah,
it's absolutely stunning. I got the chance to see it back in April for the first time since it was finished because I went to go see my family.
Yep.
And it looks absolutely stunning compared to the old one. I mean, the old one I always thought looked like a stack of books, which to me was just boring. You know, libraries. Yeah, but it was absolutely stunning to see, and I want to see a game there as well. So maybe we'll have to take a road trip.
Yeah, we just might have to. Every time I see footage or like of the games, it's always so packed, and the crowd is so passionate and into it.
And the cheerleaders are awesome too. So
and the cheerleaders are awesome.
I knew a couple of them back in the day. So yeah.
Awesome. Rider Nation representing CFL people. Argos played last night. They lost by 1 point, and but I mean, I was at the home opener and they got killed. It was like 64-14 was the final. I've never seen a score that bad.
That is some Rider level scores right there.
Yeah, it was very, very sad. But so yesterday, apparently it was a very close game. I actually didn't even get to go because I was hosting the pageants yesterday. But anyway,
backstage watching it on your phone.
Yeah, I was trying to keep up track on things. But yeah. So anyway, losing by 1 point in a close game is better than losing by that many, 50 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Like how that's. I mean, that was the season opener though, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess
they probably just didn't stretch enough.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. I was all excited because they did really well in the preseason. But I mean, preseason doesn't really mean anything. But I think they actually kind of not sure. But I know they won more than they lost. I don't know if they did lose in the preseason. They did well, so I was like, yeah, this is going to be good. But anyway, we'll see. Long season still.
That is true.
So we'll see how
it goes until what? November? No.
October, November. I know that it gets very cold by the end. So yeah, around there. I should know, but I can't really remember.
Yeah, long season. Yeah. Long season ahead.
Long season. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So you're from... So when did you come out to Toronto?
I've been here for about a year and a half now.
Oh.
Yeah. So I moved here New Year's, the day after New Year's. What was it, 2017, 2018? Yeah, 2018.
Oh,
yeah.
So not very long. So how did you find the difference?
I love it here. I really do. It's been such a good city to me. And I've lived everywhere. I've lived in Vancouver. I've lived in Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton, everywhere. And Toronto's just been, instantly home to me. I started acting within the first, good 2 months of me being here. The music kicked off really, really well. So this city's just been incredible. And there's so much to do, right? It literally never sleeps.
Yeah.
I mean, back home, it's pretty quiet. There's not a lot of recreation to do. And we don't have a beautiful harbor front like we do here in Toronto. So it was instantaneously home.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you said you lived in a bunch of places. So
I have, yeah.
So what prompted you to move around a lot and that sort of thing?
I wanted to see where I fit in the best. What city felt like home. I never had the feeling of this is where I want to put down my roots. This is where I actually want to start my life, right? So I wanted to, continue to move around to figure out where that was, and Toronto was where that was.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's cool. Yeah, I've never lived anywhere else. I was born and raised in Toronto.
you just knew it was home.
Well, yeah, yes, by default, I suppose. Yeah, but that's cool to hear that you really moved around and just wanted to see where you fit. That's cool.
Well, every place has its strengths, right? I mean, me being a very musical person, I wanted to be somewhere where music was very much alive all the time, right? And Vancouver was great, but it was better for acting than it was for music, right? It was better for modeling than it was for music, whereas Toronto, you can literally do everything here. And in the downtime, you can still do modeling or, whatever else it is that you want to do. I mean, even authors come up out of here. Whereas Vancouver, again, it's actors. So, yeah. Still love you, Vancouver, though. Still love Vancouver.
Vancouver's lovely.
It is.
A few years ago, I did a drive from... I drove all the way from BC all the way back to Toronto.
That's a beautiful drive.
So it was
Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah, gorgeous drive.
And it was awesome. I mean, that was the first time I ever saw like mountains.
Yeah.
I drove through the Rockies coming back, and it's amazing. Like the first time if you've never seen mountains before, the first time you ever see mountains, it's like you suddenly feel really small. I don't know. You just get to realize how big the world is. It's a cool feeling.
It is. I've actually done hiking out in those mountains.
Oh,
yeah. There's you probably passed it, but the Waterton National Park down in it's just on the Alberta border from British Columbia.
Okay.
And they have this beautiful mountain that you can hike up to, and at the very top there's a glacier lake. So I did that hike. I was like 14 or 15 years old, and it was the best time of my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Western Canada. I think they've definitely got the scenic beauty. I think advantage over the rest. Although I have heard the East Coast is really pretty, but I've never been out there.
Same, yeah.
But I've heard it's really nice out in Newfoundland, Nova Scotia out there. But Western Canada, yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, like I said, it was more of a drive-through where we would stop and stay in a place overnight. Like we basically drive for about 8 hours, and then if we found somewhere interesting, we'd stay there for the night. So I got a very brief look at we stopped at Vancouver. We spent some time in Drumheller, Alberta.
Drumheller, nice. Yeah.
We actually, we stopped there because we were on our way up and we bumped into some people from, I want to say Sweden. I might be getting that wrong, but it doesn't matter. We bumped into them when we were doing some whitewater rafting, and they were like, "Oh, you're driving through Alberta? You got to check out Drumheller." I was like, "Oh, okay." So we went there and spent some time with the dinosaur stuff.
I was going to say, did you see the bones?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We went
that's
into
awesome.
the Royal Tyrrell Museum there.
Nice.
So we checked that out, and then where we end up? We stopped briefly in Winnipeg, and
Did you check out the Mint while you were there?
no, we were there for like a few hours. Yeah, and in fact, when we were in Winnipeg, it was Canada Day. So the day we were
Nice.
driving through, they had all the streets were closed down, and so they were having like a street party right at the middle, red and white.
Oh, right at
everywhere.
Portage.
I
Yeah,
think that was
that's the
right.
main road you would come through. That's crazy.
Yeah, so that was cool. So we spent a few hours there just to see it. So I basically got a very, very brief taste of like a lot of Canada across.
And it changes a lot as you go through, doesn't it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. So you start on the west and you see all these mountains and stuff. And like we were in Vancouver for 2 days, so we did the hike up Grouse Mountain.
Okay, yeah.
So we did that. Very pretty city actually, and again, it's surrounded by nature and everything. And then you go through the actual big mountains, and then things totally change, flatten out a little bit, and across.
You can literally see dogs for miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never lost my dogs, though, growing up, so that was always good.
Yeah, you can always see them.
Yeah.
Know where they go.
And they can hear you, too. Just do, like, the really loud whistle, and
Yeah.
here they come running for 3 miles.
Yep. There
Yeah.
you go. So it's very convenient when you think of it that way.
Yes.
But it is cool. So you've seen a lot of this country. You've lived in many parts of the country.
I have.
And now you're here. So how do you think this will be? You'll be here for a while, or what?
Toronto's
do you
home.
think? Yeah.
Toronto is 100% home. Yeah. So unless the girlfriend decides she wants to go anywhere else, it's Toronto's home for me now.
Toronto was home. Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, if you're an actor as well as a musician and other things, I mean, Toronto's got it all, definitely. So.
And even just in downtime, I mean, like there's literally endless options of what you can do in your spare time, right? You can catch a boat, go on a cruise.
Yep.
You can go out to the island and just hang out.
Yeah.
There's what, pool halls, there's nightclubs. It's got everything.
Yep.
Right. Toronto's incredible.
Yeah, and summer in Toronto, I mean, every single weekend there are multiple festivals going on. Somewhere a road is being closed and a stage is being put up, and there's every cultural event is happening. There's, like I said, every culture is here. So you can go over here and you can, go Taste of the Danforth. You can go over here and you can go to Little Italy. You can go to, Chinatown. I don't know, everywhere. There's just a lot to see, lots to do. Last night I was hosting the Miss Philippines pageant. So that was up in Scarborough. And, just another thing to do. There's so much going on. So I'm glad you like it. Welcome.
Thank you.
You've only been here a year and a half. That's cool.
A year and a half, yeah.
I guess let's talk a bit about your music, since that's more or less why we're here. So tell me about. So we're gonna play a song in a little bit.
Yes.
Drag Me Down.
Yes.
Tell me a bit about it.
Down. Oh man. So Drag Me Down was a song I spent 6 months writing and refining and rewriting, and it was something that I had the hook in my head, and I knew it was something that I wanted to do with a strong message, right? I wanted to, tell a story with it and be able to also showcase, my vocal talents with it. Mm-hmm. So for 6 months, basically I had nothing but the hook. And I kept toying with different melodies and, how did I want to make this happen? And finally I got to write the song, and like that final month, recorded it out, and I was in love with the track, did a couple more demos of it, landed on that final version. And so the song is about an unhealthy relationship and trying to overcome the fact that you once perceived them in a positive light, and that the reality is that they are doing more negative impacts to your life than
makes sense.
Than positive.
Yeah.
So finally realizing that all they do is drag you down, and that you in fact need to break away from them.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense, because especially when you first meet someone and you first get into a relationship with them, or even before that, when you first meet someone, you have a crush on them. You'll always see them with rose-colored glasses type thing, right?
Yes.
So, and I guess it's only after a while when you realize, oh, actually, you start to see the other parts of that person, and maybe they aren't that great for you.
Yeah, isn't it like it takes 6 months or something to get to know somebody, to see their true colors?
That makes sense. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's definitely, and especially you actually have to get to know them, as opposed to just liking them from a distance type thing. But so that's what this song is about.
That is exactly what it's about.
Well, why don't we let's give it a listen.
All right.
This is, hang on, let's cue it up here.
You drag me down.
This is Drag Me Down by Chad Beloin.
All the words you say Yeah, you drag me down. You take all there is of me, and in spite of me, you throw it all away. You leave me in misery. You drag me down. You just drag me down. I used to think your love kept me alive. Now I know it's killing me inside. 'Cause you just drag me down.
Crosswave, the right hit music mix.
That song was brought to you by Jewelry Forever. Conveniently located at CF Markville Shopping Center on 5000 Highway 7 East Markham. They do custom-made jewelry, repairs, and they change watch batteries, all done on site. Or if you're not the type of person who likes to wear pants, you can just shop online at jewelryforever.ca, where you can get free shipping with any orders of $149 or more. Jewelry Forever. Check them out. Tell them Scott and Regine sent ya. And it was brought to you by the Canada's Top Choice Council, a non-profit organization proud to present 3 amazing events held annually that help to grow the community, advance education, self-empowerment, and promote public appreciation for the arts. And of course, they have the Canada's Top Choice pageant coming up in August. I believe they might still be looking for candidates. I'm not sure, actually. But find out more at Canada's Top Choice. It's going to be a great event. And Regina and I will also be the hosts. So we will see you guys there. Thank you to our advertisers. And now we are back with Chad Beloin. Oh, there we go. There
Hello
you are.
again.
Hello.
Hi. So wait, you're going to be at the pageant. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be there too.
Oh, really?
I'm going to be performing.
Oh,
yeah.
beautiful. There you go.
Surprise.
One more reason. Find Chad Beloin live.
Yes.
Are you going to perform this song, or do you think you're going to perform others? Or what do you think?
I have other songs in mind, unfortunately,
Awesome.
Yes. But I promise everybody's going to love it.
I think they will. So the track we just listened to,
Drag Me Down.
Drag Me Down. So it sounds great.
Thank
Awesome
you.
track. I love the smooth feeling. The vocals are nice. You got a lot of falsetto going in there. So 6 months you worked on that track.
6 agonizing months, yes. Yeah.
So you had the hook. The hook came to you. So
Instantly. The hook came to me instantly. I'm listening to it, and I had the melody, and then next thing I knew, I'm like, you drag me down. I'm like, all right, there's the hook.
Yep.
And yeah, for 6 months, I agonized over the perfect verses and bridge just to kind of pull it all together. And like I was saying to you while the song was playing,
Yeah.
it was one of those things where I wrote basically the rest of the album while I was still trying to write that track.
Just that one track wasn't coming together.
It just wasn't, but it had to be on the record. It was one of those, like, this song needs to make the cut. It has to be on the record. It's like the song.
Yeah.
You know?
You could tell that you had something special. You just couldn't.
I couldn't let it go. Yeah, it was dragging me down in the intro though.
It was dragging you down. Yeah. So how do you find, do you find you write a lot of songs like that where you'll hear, say, a hook will come to you, or is it different each time, or how do you
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I've had a few songs where the hook has come to me, especially on the last record there. Like there was PG Love. That one had, again, the hook came to me instantly. The verse was actually also pretty much as instant as the hook was for that one. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple other songs, from earlier in my career, like 2014 kind of era, where it was the same thing. I heard the instrumental, vibed with it instantly, and it was like, okay, this is exactly what I want to do with this song, and then it came to life.
Awesome.
All wrapped around the hook. Yeah.
Yeah.
The new record, not so much. The one I'm working on right now, it's I've been starting with the verses and kind of pushing myself to do something a little different than I have in the past. Mm-hmm. And it's working out. It's sounding pretty good so far.
I see.
So.
Yeah, I guess I find it depends. I write songs as well. It's sometimes you'll get one that comes together, like you just hear something and then you can't get it out of your head.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. And then there are other times where, like, you can sort of decide, okay, this is the type of song I want to write, and then you just sort of build it up almost like you're building like a house or something, right? You start
Pretty much, yeah.
build on
You start
top.
from the foundation, and you continue to bring it up with care, of course, right? So there's a million rewrites that go into every single song, and it's so much fun though. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like there's one I'm going to be releasing in a few weeks. It's called If I Knew Then What I Know Now. It's going to be the kind of the shift into my new sound. So that should be coming out in August.
Cool.
And it was one of those things where I've spent about a year and a half. So basically, since I've been here in Toronto, working on my new record, I've had 55 songs that I've been writing, and I'm going to weasel it down to about 12 or 13.
Awesome. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, like it's different because again, in the past it was you do them, until it feels complete, right? Whereas this time it's no, I'm gonna go all in, and I'm basically writing, the equivalent of 4 albums, and I'm gonna say,
And
okay,
whittle it
here's
down.
one album out of these 4.
Yeah. That's
So I'm excited for that too.
That's cool. Yeah, I've never been able to. Yeah, because I find when I'm writing, I usually, I'll write, and then when I have 10 or so songs, that's my album. But
It's done.
Yeah.
Yes.
But to do it that way, that's actually cool because you're like, I feel like it ensures it's going to be really high quality, right? Because we're starting with a higher number, and then it's almost like
We're picking the absolute best of the best.
You're editing, yeah. So it almost becomes in a weird way, a greatest hits. It's the greatest hits of this session of songs.
Exactly. It's the greatest hits of the songs that you'll never get to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
I guess
of course they
that's-
get leaked, right?
they get leaked, which seems to happen these days. But
Yeah.
hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Check-
I'll
check-
just spend a lot of time offline.
Check your passwords, everybody.
Yes.
Don't have the same password for everything.
Change
That
them every
seems to
6 months. I
Yeah.
think it is. 6
Do that
months
as
or
well.
3 months, something like that.
Yeah, a lot of people. It's amazing how a lot of people have the same password for everything. That's why when you hear a lot about these leaks,
Guilty.
like people. Oh, there you go.
Guilty. Yeah.
You know what's helped me is I find I have a password keeper app. On
You have
your phone.
Dashlane.
Actually,
This
no, I
episode
think,
was brought to you by
yeah, I
every
think
YouTube video ever.
yeah. No, I think mine's actually it just came with the phone. It's like called Password Keeper.
What phone do you got?
The BlackBerry Key One.
Oh, you're keeping the BlackBerry alive.
Yeah, actually,
boy, you
I
are
love my
Canadian as
BlackBerry.
heck.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh man, I made the switch to iPhone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
But mine's safe too because everything's locked to my face or my fingerprint. on
Oh
my
yeah,
computer.
yeah. Fingerprint's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the computer's the only thing with the fingerprint. Everything else is all Face ID now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think I'm about as safe as a BlackBerry.
Yeah, as long as you don't. Yeah. I mean, the face is pretty good because nobody,
As long as they
it's
don't
your
hack my
face.
iCloud.
Yes. Yes. So anyway, check your passwords, people.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm in this situation now where it's like, so I have a different password, I think, for everything. But some of the passwords, because I basically say I open a new account for whatever, you have to make a password. So what I'll do is I'll go into the password keeper, and you have the option there of like, you can just make up a password, or you can
that's
have them generate a random number of letters and numbers instantly. So I've done that a few times. So there are literally like things where I don't even know the password to what it is. It's like the only way I can log in there is if I go into my password keeper, copy the password, and paste it in.
Do they have
So-
like the ability for you to have an external encryption thing on like your SD card? Because like, what if you drop your phone in a puddle?
That's the
right?
thing. I think so I think you can back up the passwords, which I should do
You
periodically.
should probably do that, yeah.
Because that's the thing. So there are certain accounts where it's like, if I lose the phone, I kind of have just I'm not logging into that anymore.
Facebook, who needs Facebook anyway?
Yeah. So it goes both ways because they're basically more. The problem is we have so many accounts and so many things. They're more than we could ever remember, and they want us to have a unique password for every one. That's also hard to guess. So it's just
We're
a
just
lot.
human, man.
We're just
Can't do
human.
all that.
We're human, and we have to plug ourselves into all these digital things, and how are we going to remember it all? Anyways, check your passwords, people. And but yeah, so there you go. So we've got 50 songs or so being whittled down to 10 of the best.
12 or 13, about 12
or 13 of the
yeah.
best. So watch for that. So you said you're planning a new sound almost? You said you're...
Yeah. So I'm kind of trying to do a mashup between the last record that I put out back in 2017 and my first record from 2014. So the first record was a very pop sound, like a mainstream pop, whereas my second record was more R&B hip hop. So I'm trying to find this modern balance between the two sounds.
Okay, that's cool.
So that everybody's kind of happy with it, that likes my music so far, and that I can also continue to gain traction. So I've got a lot of songs that actually almost sound like they were even produced by like the Chainsmokers, right? A very Chainsmokers-esque sound. Couples that are, very Chris Brown-esque sounds.
I see. Okay.
Very, very modern sounds. So it's a good mix of both. So
Awesome.
I'm excited for it. I think it's going to sound incredible.
Cool.
It's got high energy, very, very small amount of slow songs on the next record. There will be a couple ballads, but everything else will be
More on the
more
get people
wanting to
moving
make you
type thing.
move. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm excited for that. I've never done high tempo songs before. So this
Cool.
will be a first.
All right, so this is probably a good time. Where can people find you, I guess, social media-wise, if they want to follow or be aware of when your stuff comes out?
Oh, of course. So on Instagram and Facebook, as well as Twitter, it's at Chad Beloin Music, ChadBeloin Music. And there's one more. Where else is it? I guess I'm not really on SoundCloud anymore. So yeah, those are really the main three: Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Chad Beloin Music.
Those are the big ones.
And then also, iTunes, Spotify. You can subscribe to me there in the artists section, and you will instantly be able to get your hands on my newest music when it comes out.
Beautiful. Chad Beloin, find him on all the social medias and available on fine digital music retailers everywhere.
Literally everywhere, yes.
So you're currently on the Diversity Tour.
I am, yes.
So you just when was it? You were in Toronto.
I did the Toronto dates a couple weekends ago, so not this past weekend, but the weekend before. I ended the show. So it was a lot of fun. Ended up sticking around the entire day and became a impromptu host.
Sweet.
So I had a lot of fun with Nadia and Neil, and it was a really great time there on the Diversity Tour. And July 13th, I'm going to be celebrating my birthday on the Diversity Tour here in Markham. My birthday's actually the 14th, but I'm going to Dave & Buster's for that because I want to play some video games.
Dave & Buster's is awesome.
Yeah, I've never been.
Oh,
so my girlfriend surprised me with it, and we're basically having like a nice little family outing. We got some family members coming in as well. But yes, so July 13th is the Diversity Tour in Markham, and I will be there the entire day. I'll get the chance to hang out with hopefully some fans, and as well as perform for everybody again. And then we're doing Windsor the following weekend as well.
Following weekend. So this
and I'll be there for both days.
Awesome.
Yes.
So the Diversity Tour, where's the one in Markham? Is that near the...
The Aanin Community Center.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Aanin, I think you spell it.
Aanin.
Oh, I.
There's two I's.
Two
I always
I's.
thought it was two N's, but it's two I's. Yes.
Aanin, Aneen, I'm not sure I can say it. Community Center in Markham, Ontario, this coming Saturday.
This coming Saturday, yes,
Right.
July 13th.
Cool. And do you know roughly what time?
And
you're on?
Sunday it'll be there as well.
Oh, and Sunday as well.
Yes.
So what day are you on?
I'm on Saturday.
Saturday at... Do you know what time?
I'll be around. The time gets a little bit jumbled up.
It's a long day,
I will be
right?
spending pretty much the entire day on stage as well. I will be
Sweet.
co-hosting as far as I know.
Cool.
But I will be taking the stage around, I think it's changed to 4 o'clock now.
Awesome.
But come hang out, spend the whole
come
day.
down.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's lots of live music happening all day long.
Basically nothing but live music the entire day. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it's a free event, right?
It is 100% free.
There you go.
Minus the food. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But there's going to be awesome
So-
food vendors, and you're going to want to get your hands on that too.
Perfect. There you go. Perfect way to spend your Saturday. Head on down there to the Indian Community Center in Markham, Ontario. It's live music all day long, and you'll be able to see Chad Beloin in the flesh.
And I will be singing Drag Me Down at that one.
Sweet. And you'll be able to hear that song live. And then the following weekend is Windsor.
Yes.
Where
I
do you know?
believe.
Do you know where it is in Windsor?
The Riverfront Festival Plaza in Windsor.
Awesome. So
Yes.
following weekend is it? Are you on the Saturday as well?
I believe I'm doing both days. To
Oh,
my knowledge.
beautiful.
Yes, yes.
Windsor, Ontario.
That's what the meeting about. Or that's what the meeting is about today.
Oh.
I can't talk today. Yeah.
Just to solidify the schedule and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Trying to figure out exactly what's going to be happening and see what else I can do to contribute a little bit more to the show. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So the Diversity Tour
Yes.
this Saturday and the following Saturday. This Saturday, Markham. The following Saturday in Windsor. Go on out. See some live music. Good stuff. All right, sweet. Let's take a quick break. We're going to, well, not a break. I'm just going to do some ads. And then we're going to come back with more with Chad Beloin. The conversation we've just been having was brought to you by the Intercontinental Consulting Services for Immigration and Settlement in Canada. Find out how you can live, work, and study in Canada. Visit icscanadaimmigration.ca. Come to Canada. Immigrate, work, study, visit. Contact them today for a free assessment. and was brought to you by Cecile's Line Dance Class, first established in 1998. They are great friends of the show, and they also perform under the name The Dynamic Divas at events all over the city, so it's very possible you've seen them already. But if you want to get involved or have a great time getting fit and movement and all that fun stuff, they have classes for all ages 3 times a week. Every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Beam TV. Every Thursdays from 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at JC's Banquet Hall, 1686 Ellesmere Road, Scarborough. And every Sunday from 2:30 to 4:30 at the Filipino Center, 4395 Shepherd Avenue East. Call 647-215-3013. Cecile's Line Dance Class. Line dance with the twist. Thank you to our advertisers. And once again, you can advertise on the show if you get in touch at radioshowad@gmail.com. And we're back with Chad Beloin. Hello.
Hello again.
So what do you prefer? Do you prefer performing live, or do you prefer the music writing process?
Honestly, I love both. I really do. Any opportunity that I get to sing in front of people, to be on stage, and just to feel that energy and feel that love, I absolutely love it. But I also love, being in the studio and writing and just even producing. So it's the best of both worlds for me. I think I really do encompass, a definition of a recording artist and a performing artist.
Awesome. Yeah, I find you can, I was talking, I usually ask most artists when I bring them in, because it's the two very different things.
Right? Oh, yeah.
It's like getting on stage and performing live and, communicating with a huge audience of people in front of you. I mean, that's one thing. And then the other thing is like, it's much more personal kind of, working almost on your own, writing lyrics and coming up with this thing. And they're, in a weird way, they don't even feel related, but and yet you kind of have to have both.
You do. Well, kind of. I mean, there are a lot of talented artists who, are able to, just take their craft online, right? I've seen a lot of incredible YouTube talent that exists purely on YouTube.
True.
And, they're happy with it that way, and it works for them, and I mean, that's incredible for them. And then, but I feel like, yeah, you have to be able to perform it live. I mean, that's the true experience of music, I think.
Yeah.
To just be able to connect with people and feel that emotional connection with the fans and with the people out there in the audience. It feels so nice to be out there. Mm-hmm. And you get to meet cool people, which is really, really cool too. I mean, like with the pageant, I was thankful and very blessed to meet a very, very excellent person at the Diversity Tour. Mm-hmm. I believe you know her, Rosanna.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I met Rosanna. She was one of the organizers there, and she's opened up a significant amount of doors for me, including putting you and I in contact, which I really do appreciate. And so that was another thing she lined up. So, again, I get to meet excellent people. I get to see you again, which would be really cool.
That's right.
And maybe we can talk about or catch up about the scores at that point in time. So I'm sure
we'll see how our teams are doing.
They'll have changed.
Argo's got to turn things around.
We're talking about the riders here, so it's not like you have much to go up against. Yeah. No offense to my riders, I love y'all, but yeah. So I mean, I'm really excited though, and I get to see the pageant, which is going to be, let's face it, it's going to be pretty awesome too. So
yeah, the pageant's awesome. Like they, because every candidate, right? Because I've hosted quite a few pageants now. It's weird how I kind of ended up being a fairly regular pageant host over the years, but it just sort of happens. But it's neat that every candidate brings out like all their friends and family, right? And like some of the pageant girls are like, if they're still in school, they'll bring like half their like friends from school will come out. So you've got say 5 or 6 candidates. So like a theater just gets full of people, and they're so loud they bring signs. It's like being at a sporting event.
And I get to sing in front of that.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
it's amazing. And you'll see like as each girl comes on, it's like a different portion of the audience just goes insane, and it's like. Like it even happened last night. Like I couldn't believe, you got big pictures of the person's face or like giant signs with their names, and They bring noisemakers. It's a really raucous environment.
It's so awesome.
It's cool. Yeah,
So what I'm hoping is they let me kind of walk out near the end when, like they do the whole final parade and they all walk out.
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to be a part of that and sing while they do that. I think that would be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping happens, but we'll see.
Well, we'll figure out how to get you a part of it somehow.
Yeah.
Because it is a cool event. I don't know if you've attended many beauty pageants in the past.
I'm embarrassed to say I have not. No.
Well, I think
not as many as you, definitely.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean, I knew almost nothing about it, and then now I sort of host them often. But I still remember how amazed I was at the atmosphere in the audience, because that's the part I didn't really think about at all. Mm-hmm. But in a lot of ways, I guess it's like any live show. Like how much an impact the audience has on the performance. Like, say, if you're performing, right? If the audience is there with you, it's totally different, right?
That is true.
And the pageant is the same thing. You see how the audience impacts, and then you can also see how it impacts the person on stage when they're either doing their talent portion or they're even just the walk and they're showing off their thing. You can see that the audience is interacting with them in a way that only happens in a live type setting, right? Where it's
interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. So you'll find out all about it.
I shall
soon enough.
Yes.
And that's in August. I wish I should know.
I want to say it's August 6th.
That sounds right. Yeah, the Fairview Library Theater, I believe.
Yes, yeah, that's correct.
Get your tickets now. I believe they're available.
I can double check the date right now. It's on my Instagram story as we speak.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, we can check that. We can check that right now. Yeah, the Canada's Top Choice Pageant.
Yes.
He's checking.
It's not on my story right now. Oh. It's been apparently more than 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll have to reshare it later.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it is coming up, and it's going to be a good time.
It is.
And that's cool. I didn't even know you were going to be there. And
I didn't know you were going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah,
the world just gets smaller and smaller every day, guys.
Yeah, there you go. And you'll get to meet my co-host who wasn't able to be here today.
That is right.
But Regine, she'll be there as well. We're going to be co-hosting together. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a very good time. Sweet. So, I wanted to ask about. So, I guess you weren't obviously a giant Raptors fan, but you kind of must have seen the insanity.
Whoa! I am a giant.
Oh, you were a
Raptors fan. I am. I've been a Raptors fan. I didn't follow the games recently.
Okay.
But I cut the cord at home. That's why I haven't been following the games.
I see. Okay,
yes,
gotcha. Okay,
I'm
good.
a cord cutter. But I've loved the Raptors since I was a child. Same with, pretty much every team has been Toronto, with the exception of the Raptors, since I was brought up. Really.
Okay.
Yes.
I made an assumption that I shouldn't have made, everyone.
But this is Canada, baby. Everybody's a Raptors fan.
Yeah, that's
here.
true. That's
everybody.
True. So, what'd you think of the atmosphere as the finals were happening? And
I've never seen Toronto come so close and just become one the way that I did throughout the finals. Mm-hmm. It was an extraordinary energy just being in this city, just being out there and experiencing day-to-day life, and it's just incredible to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And of course, once we took that W, I was doing a sound check that night, and I was just wrapping up the sound check, and my eyes were glued to my phone, and I'm waiting and I'm watching, and then the clock stopped, but there was still time left on it. I'm like, did we win?
Yeah.
Again, you don't see those updates on Google, so I'm prematurely freaking out. I call my parents back home in Saskatchewan. I'm like, hey, you guys watching the game? My dad's like, heck yeah, I am. All right, did we win? Not yet. Hold on.
Yeah.
Do the countdown with me on the clock. All I hear is my mom was screaming in the background, and of course I start screaming because we won, and it was the best thing. And all of a sudden, it sounded like I Am Legend out there.
Yeah,
it was a whole different night. And apparently they shut down Young Dundas for what, till 4 or 5 a.m.
Yeah, I think it was all night. Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah, it was really special. I mean, I've never seen. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've lived here my whole life. I've never seen the city quite like that. I mean, it was.
I didn't even know that was humanly possible.
Yeah, it was. And it was so neat. Like you could tell. Like obviously, there are people who even necessarily if they weren't Raptors fans or they weren't that big into it, but you can see that just sort of the that atmosphere was almost contagious. That everybody just wanted to get in there. I mean, every bar was full. Every single game, you couldn't get a seat anywhere. Every victory that people would pour into the streets. It was a very special thing. It was a very special thing. And
and only a couple cop cars were damaged. So
that's the thing.
And power to us.
Yes,
and a bus.
Yeah, yeah. I went out at the day they won. Actually, I went out. I walked out to Young and Dundas.
Oh,
I was able to because I watched at a bar kind of in the east end of the city. That it was the only one I could even get inside. So I watched there, and then as soon as it ended, me and my friend were like, "All right, let's start walking towards Yonge Street and just see what we see." And yeah, it was awesome.
As there were hundreds of other people doing the exact same thing as you
Yeah.
from your vicinity too.
That's the thing. So we start walking, and the crowd gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and then suddenly you get to the point where it's all just you can't go any further with your car. The cars are all blocked, so we just kept walking. And actually, the police were actually really, really great. I'll say that they sort of just stood by and you know.
As long as nothing completely crazy happened,
Yeah.
I think they were okay with it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the funny thing, I was watching, so the cops were at every intersection where they kind of blocked off on Yonge Street from about Dundas to Queen, a bit north, south, and east side. So they were kind of standing on the outside of that to make sure cars don't try to come in. But on the streets that were still open, cars were driving by with people on the roof, people hanging out the window, pickup trucks with people just waving flags, right? And they're driving right past all the police, and the police are just, happy of it's a special night.
That's more than a special night. That is insane. In my area, all I heard were people honking and screaming. I didn't see nobody on top of their cars. That's insane.
Yeah, right down by Yonge and Dundas, it was neat. And then I did see the two buses. So the buses that got damaged.
There were two.
Yeah, so they
I only heard of the one.
I think they only really damaged one.
I saw they were ripping out the windows and going crazy.
Yeah, so the buses were these gray buses. I've never actually seen them before, but they're TTC buses, but they're special event buses.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's why I didn't recognize them. But so they parked them at the top on Yonge Street, one at Queen, one at Dundas, and they literally put them there to block traffic. Mm-hmm. And so people had climbed on top of both. So when I got there, it was just covered in people inside and out. Oh, yeah. But then it looks like what happened was some people, when on the bus, if you pull the emergency thing, it makes a window pop out to exit. So I guess somebody had pulled out all of those, so all the windows had just fallen onto the ground, and I guess they broke. I don't know. You always get a few people. It was interesting even just seeing they were interviewing a police officer after, and he was very no, I think overall the night went well. He's there's always just a few people who take it a little too far, but
and again there were millions of people out in the streets that night. So what can you really expect? Unfortunately,
yeah. And then I've got to think I was out, so the game ended, and then I walked. I think I was probably out on the streets till about 2, maybe 3 in the morning. I'm not sure. Because I walked all the way out there, and then I ended up walking all the way back because my phone died, so I couldn't even get an Uber.
Oh, no.
So, but it was fine. I mean, the thing is, even the walk back was fun because there were so many people around. Yeah. But if the party went till 4 or 5 in the morning, I guess a lot of people were probably fairly lubricated by that time. So I don't know.
Could say.
Stuff.
I was fast asleep by that time, man.
Yeah.
I went to bed at 12, maybe 11. I shut my window. I'm like, enough's enough, guys. Actually, no, I lied. I was around 1 or 2 a.m. when I went to sleep. Mm-hmm. But same thing. Close the windows. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah, it was a long night. But yeah, it was definitely special. And then so this Raptors hat, I can't tell if it's on camera. This one, you can't see it on the wide angle. Maybe. Oh yeah, there it is. Right. So that hat, I ended up standing in line for 2 hours to get it at Lids.
For a hat.
Yeah.
2 hours for a hat.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So that's not even the worst one. So this one, I wasn't even planning to stand in line, but I thought I happened to be near Eaton Center, so I thought, let's just swing by and see if they have any in stock. And I get to the Lids downstairs in Eaton Center, and there's a line, and I was like, okay, how long is this line? And the line was maybe I don't know, 100 meters long at most, maybe less. It might have even been less.
It's not bad.
So I kind of, none of this was planned. I was just like, okay, let's go get in the line and let's just see if it moves. I get in the line, and within about a minute of being in the line, it moved forward 3 or 4 steps. So I was like, oh, it's moving. So then I kind of was just on my phone, and I wasn't really thinking about the time. I was just texting people, being right. And then suddenly an hour had gone by, and I was halfway through the line, and I was like, I've been in here an hour. I mean, I've already invested this time. All right, fine, I'll stay. So it ended up being a 2-hour wait.
Oh boy!
But I got a hat.
That is true.
But that's not the worst part, because I guess it is a nice hat.
It's a pretty hat.
It's a pretty hat. Well, so you heard about, I guess, then the Raptors released later, I guess, the OVO hats, the Drake ones.
Yeah.
So that one they had for sale only one day, right? You had to go line up at Real Sports in Toronto at, what day was it? Doesn't matter. Whatever the one day was, it was a Friday. And I thought, okay, I'll go get in line and let's see. So I got in line and I got up early. I got up at 5 in the morning. I got to the place by 5:45, and the line was long, but it wasn't that long. And that one was, I was in line for 6 hours.
Sheesh.
Yeah. Now I will say this: it was kind of a fun time because you're hanging out with a lot of people and like.
But
you
but
bring
like, it's not
snacks.
even like an iPhone, man. It's
No,
a
it's
hat.
not. You know what?
It's
That's
a hat.
You know, that's the funny thing about it is like, so I've never stood in line for like any type of phone like that, any type of device. You know, when I want to get my BlackBerry, I just order it online and they send it to me, right? And I used to see people waiting in line for iPhones and being like, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
As he waits in line for a hat.
But that's the thing. So when I got in this line for the hat, I was sitting there being like, suddenly I'm like, oh, I get it. It's not just the thing. It's kind of the feeling that you're
Experience.
part of. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like you're part of this thing that's happening. And
It's almost exclusive too, because you know that
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that aren't a part of that little group. So you get
Exactly.
to, it's a membership of sorts.
Exactly. It was, and again, we were all there, especially at this moment. We're all on this high of the championship win, and the city has come together, and everybody's just, you know, there aren't that many times when there's something where kind of the same thing is on everybody's mind, where sort of everybody's talking about it in a way that, you know. So it was just a cool thing to be part of. But so I stand in line for 6 hours for this to get this hat, and by this time it's about 11 o'clock, and we're about, I want to say 50 meters away from the front doors of Scotiabank, which is where they were selling them. They weren't selling them in the main Real Sports. They were selling it at like the smaller store inside the arena.
Okay.
And suddenly a security guard comes out and is like, sold out. We're sold
Dang.
out. Yeah. So 6 hours.
6 hours.
Yeah.
You sold out.
Yeah. It was, and it's funny because once I lined up, the line got really long behind me really fast. Like this line, I don't know if you saw pictures or anything of the line.
No.
But like the line comes out of Scotiabank Arena, all the way down Bremner, all the way up York, up to Front Street, all the way down
God.
Front Street, all the way to Bay. So it was
What?
huge. It was a huge line, right? And I was nowhere near the back. I was like, well, I think the back of the line for me was just around the corner on York Street. It wasn't far.
That's
so-
not far at all.
No, so I was positive I was going to get a hat. I was sitting there in line and my buddy was with me and we're like, oh yeah, we're going to get a hat. Like the people way up on front right now, I don't know about those guys, but we're getting a hat.
And
Then we were fairly close and no, we didn't. But then what I
how
found...
many hats did they make though?
So that's the part I can't figure out. So originally the rumor was there were 25,000 hats available.
Okay.
And
Were
the
there
limit...
25,000 people ahead of you?
I don't think so. But so the limit was 3 per person. That's what they're saying. So 3 per person, that's about 8,000 hats, right? Total. Or 8,000 people can get hats. And no, I don't think there were anywhere close to 8,000 people in front of me. But what I found out afterwards was there were a lot of people who were able to get around the system. Like there were a lot of pictures of people, resellers mostly, who had like standing around with like 12 hats in their hand. And there's stories that people were able to walk out with way more than that amount, like 6, 8, 10 hats. So-
Are these like the same people that were reselling them for like double the price?
Yeah,
Insane
probably.
amounts.
Yeah, like what I've heard is, so apparently I guess what they are is they're organized, because what I've heard is that these types of the reseller types, they show up at like every time there's like any type of pop-up shop for like, you know, whenever there's like a special, I don't know, sometimes those artists will do like a special pop-up shop that's just one-time thing. They'll always show up and they'll kind of ruin it for everybody. Apparently it happens all the time. So this
How
was my
sweet
first
of them.
experience. Yeah.
How sweet of them.
Yeah, so I mean that's
So
the thing.
thoughtful.
Yeah. So it's the thing, I was positive I'd get a hat, but then afterwards when I heard that people were walking out with way more than 3, I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense. Or it could be that initial number of 25,000 was not real, because I'm not even really sure where that number came from. Apparently it was just a number that got floated around that everybody was saying.
So there was no actual report of this
guess
is
not.
definitely a thing.
Yeah. So anyways, 6 hours for, well, nothing, really.
Well, you were there for the experience.
That's the thing.
Again,
it was.
the exclusivity.
Yes. And again, I have a story to tell. I mean, here it is. I was just able to talk about it for quite a while. But it's funny because like after that experience and then finding out that like they just weren't policing the system so that people were getting more than 3, and apparently there was line cutting, all this stuff. After that, I was like, I almost don't even want a hat anymore, which is kind of funny. But
Just like salt in the wound.
yeah. And then you know, a week later we find out Kawhi is not coming back.
That's
Which
right.
was sad.
Yeah.
You know. No, what's funny?
He's going to be closer to home,
That's the thing,
right? So it's good for him.
Yeah. In fact, you know what his thing is? I remember I'm trying to remind myself what I was telling myself immediately after they won, which was at that time I was like, okay, we're pretty sure he's not coming back. And I remember in my mind, I was thinking, he said from the very beginning, even when he first signed, we knew that it was a year thing. We knew for the longest time he wanted to be in California, back home where his family is and everything. That's what he wanted to do. And we knew that this was a temporary thing. And so as soon as that season ended, I was like, yeah, this was great. I'm grateful for what he did. If he stays, that's awesome. And then, but I wasn't expecting anything and I was happy with that. But then in the days that followed that, I guess as the media was going so crazy, like they were following him everywhere he went. And then all these rumors started coming up, like he bought a house. And they were like, oh.
And then the sponsorship deals that they were saying he was working on as well.
Yeah. It was just like, and suddenly you started hearing analysts being like, it's looking very good. He's going to be with Toronto. It's looking like he's going to be here. And like, it was only maybe a couple of days ago where I don't even know where I saw it or somebody talked about it where I was like, yeah, he's staying. Oh yeah, this is it. So I was almost used to the idea that, wow, all right, great. He's here for another year. Let's see where this goes.
And then yesterday
it's just like, and so now I'm like sad about it. But again, I'm trying to.
He took less money too.
Yeah,
we offered him more at longer,
Yep.
and he just wanted to be home that bad. So like it shows like you can't be mad at that he turned down. Like it's not about the money for him. Mm-hmm. It's about the family and the love for the game, and that's honestly the way it should be. I like that.
It's true. It's true. I respect that. Yeah. And so that's why
that's a Canadian way. He took something with him when he left. He took the Canadian way with him. There we go.
And he left something beautiful here.
Yeah, we got the trophy. Dang right, he left something beautiful here.
Yes, he did. It was a wonderful thing. So I'm trying to keep telling myself that it's like the remember what you were thinking before. Here's here. I mean, do you think they should? I mean, I was like, yeah, they got to build a statue for him. I don't know. Maybe they should.
I mean, maybe some bobbleheads. A statue. I mean,
well, you know what I think they should do?
Unless they do the whole team on a statue.
Yeah,
that's more like it.
Well, you know how at Scotiabank Arena, or I don't know if you know what Legends Row is, right outside of the.
Not 100% familiar with that.
So right in front of Scotiabank, they've got it's a whole bunch of statues. It looks like a hockey.
Oh, like
bench.
outside.
Yeah, outside.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know what you're talking.
And every year they'll add like another famous Leaf player.
Yeah.
Right. And so you've got all the greats from different eras, all there, kind of like in positions of like that they're in the middle of coming off the bench, right? But maybe it's time to start some type of Legends Row for the Raptors.
They really should, and I think that our team should be that team.
Yeah,
that gets made into it.
Yep, and like you can,
when's the next time we're gonna win?
That's the thing we don't know. I mean, now
probably next season, hopefully. If they, keep the A game up.
Yep,
I think we'll. Who do you think we're gonna get in the trade? Any idea?
I honestly have no idea. I will also say, in terms of Raptors, like I did not follow them very closely before. So I will say that. My sports have always been, I grew up playing hockey, so I'm a Leaf fan. Okay. I grew up playing baseball, so I'm a Jays fan.
Hey.
I'm an Argos fan for the last, I want to say, 6 or 7 years now.
Come to the green side. We're better.
I do love the green side. I got to get over there. I got to get over there for a game, but I always cheer for the Toronto teams, I find I do. But Raptors, I've always I remember when they became a team, and I've been to lots of games over the years, but it's always been the sport that, because I never played it, I didn't feel the same, connection to it.
That makes sense, yeah.
And so, it just wasn't how it was. But then, again, it was like this playoff run, I found myself watching every game and wanting to get it. And I know I'm going to watch a lot more basketball next season because of just how exciting this got. And that's why I am happy. I do think that this run has definitely brought a lot more fans into the game. And I think that's good for basketball in this country and for the team as well. But anyway,
maybe we'll see a second team at some point popping up somewhere in the country. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That'd be cool. Get one on the West Coast.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. But anyway, because of that, I don't follow too closely the stats of who's going where, and actually full disclosure as well, I don't really do that for any sport. So even with the Leafs, it's like I know most of our guys. But then again, they've made so many changes in the last few years. I find when I'm watching the games, there are so many players. I'm like, I don't know who that guy is. Like, who's that guy? So it's almost like I got to get to know the teams all over again. But what I will say about the Raptors is, I do believe very much in Masai Ujiri, the guy who was able to actually build the team. We still have him. I think he's a basketball team building genius. You know, he built us this team that gave us this championship. And yeah, now we're seeing some big changes this season, but I think if there's somebody who can work more magic, it's him. So,
Agreed. Yeah.
So we'll see.
It'll be a fun season.
It'll be a fun season. And I will be watching a lot of it this year, which is nice.
And I will be Googling a lot of it this year.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Don't cut the cord, man. Don't cut the cord. Don't
exactly. Well, I think we've pretty much reached the end of the show. In fact, we've gone a little bit over an hour, which is pretty cool.
I'm sorry.
No, this was a good conversation. Very good conversation.
It was a pleasure being here.
Yeah. So once again, where can people find you?
Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Chad Beloin Music, Beloin, just in case. It's a little bit hard. And, of course, iTunes, Spotify, and every other music distribution platform, including YouTube. Apparently, YouTube now, when you release a song, they just put it straight to YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you can find me there as well, Chad Beloin.
Sweet. Chad Beloin, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, Scott.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll see you again, and I'll see you at the pageant.
Yes, see you there.
If you want to find me, you can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Scott Dion Brown. I recently reached 1,000 subs. Hey. And because of that, we know that one of the things we promised everybody, thank you, we promised Regina, my co-host, we're going to do a duet song to celebrate 1,000. So that's going to be on there. And also, I am working on a 1,000 subscriber special. I just have to decide. I want to do something really cool for it. I just haven't decided what it's going to be.
I'm going to have to be your 1,001st and check that out. Yeah.
YouTube.com/Scott Dion, Dion Brown. And thank you, guys. And so once again, Chad, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And let's say goodbye. Everybody, we'll see you guys next week. Regine, miss you. We'll see you again in a week. So Regine will be back 11 a.m. on Crosswave Radio. Thank you. See you guys next time. Bye.
That's it for today, folks. To Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown. If you think 60 minutes is not enough, well, you better catch us again next week, because it is not just about music or pure talk. It's your weekend pastime. And witness the next worthy of your time episode of the program right here on Crosswave Radio. To Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown.